Okay. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Morning. It's still morning. It's not afternoon yet. Okay. Am I being heard? Let me know in the chat box if I am. Just say yes, sir. Good morning. Okay. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So we practically have finished. Ogunbumi, your video is open. Okay. All right. Yes, we practically have are done with the topic I'm supposed to teach. I mean, we're able to move really fast yesterday, and thanks for your cooperation. I hope the class went well and you all learned something new and it was well understood. But in case there are gray areas, I'm very I'm going to be opening the floor very soon for questions or contributions some of you might have, so that we are sure that we are all on the same page on the topic. But before we do that, I'm just going to go through the slides again very, very quickly as a form of introduction. Sorry, as a form of revision. Yes. So do I have your permission to share my screen? Okay, thank you, Chinedu. Okay, so I'll share my screen now. So there you go. You can see my screen, right? Aha, all these people that are always busy annotating my screen from their their from their own location, please. Don't stress me today now. Okay, so we talked about we just did a brief overview, general overview of the anatomy and physiology of the mammals, members or animals in the class Mammalia. These are vertebrates and they belong to the class Mammalia. And we looked at a few, we first started by talking about how these animals or group of animals evolved to start with. What fossil scientists, where certain fossil scientists believed they evolved from and how they evolved and when they must have, evolved. We looked at that and we learned that from the fossils of from fossils found in northern China in 2002. They found the skull, or yeah, they found the fossil of a particular animal that they later named Adrocodium. So it's known as Adrocodium fossil. And it was found in 2002 in northern China. And they found out that the skull of that particular fossil resembled this particular fossil resembled a shrew, and they believed it must have been the first true mammal that existed and must have coexisted with the dinosaurs, which were reptiles that once existed also. And so comparing the jawbones of this particular fossil with that of reptiles, there was a lot of similarity. And so fossil scientists agreed and proposed that mammals must have evolved from the reptiles in the late Jurassic period. So we looked at that and we saw uh, different different groups of mammals that have evolved over the years from the early therapsids all the way down to the monotremes, the marsupials that develop where their young develops in a pouch, and then the placentas. So moving on from there, we then went on to look at three cardinal or fundamental characteristics that make an animal a mammal. There are certain features that you must find in an animal for you to be able to call it a mammal, or certain features you must find in a vertebrate for you to be able to tell that that vertebrate is a mammal. And these three features or three characteristics are shared by all mammals. All mammals have them in existence. And these are the three middle ear bones, which are the ossicles, malleus, incus, and stapes, which were believed to have evolved from the jaw bones found in reptiles, like when we're talking about the evolution. Then air. All mammals are covered in air in at least one stage during their life cycle. All mammals are covered with air, and no other vertebrate and no other animal has this unique character or characteristic. And then finally, we learned also that all mammals have mammary glands. They are male and they are females. The only difference between the male and the female is that the males, the mammary gland stops developing way before puberty, whereas in the females, the mammary gland continues to develop. And at a point when the female gets pregnant and gives birth to a young, she feeds a young from milk that is produced by those glands. So those were the three cardinal or fundamental characteristics. Then we went on to look at some other characteristics that most mammals share, but they might not be present in all mammals, but you find them in most mammals. So if at all you are asked for inevitable features that you must find in a mammal, in an animal before you can identify it as a mammal, then those first three, the three-ear ossicles, the mammary glands, and air on their body are the three important characteristics you should mention. Please don't forget that. But the other characteristics, like the presence of four-chambered heart, possession of post-anal tail, all of these are not unique to mammals, but mammals also have them. Most mammals have these characteristics. But you find out, for example, that the four-chambered heart, birds also have four-chambered hearts. So the fact that you find a four-chambered heart in an animal doesn't make it a mammal. It could be a bird, depending on some other characteristics. But if you see an animal, for example, with four-chambered heart, and you find out it has air, it has a mammary gland, then you can categorically call it a mammal. Possession of post-anal tail, that's another character, which we said is vestigial in humans, but in other mammals is really well pronounced, but it's vestigial in humans. Vestigial meaning that it's rudimentary. Rudimentary also means it's small size, almost inconspicuous. It's more like it's not there, but it is there. And you see it existing as a tailbone. Vestigial also meaning that we don't really know its function. Although scientists and anatomists believe that it has something to do with balance, yes, but the function of the post-anal tail is not clearly known in humans, but the post-anal tail is well pronounced and functional in other mammals. Like you see them in rodents, you see them in carnivores and carnivorous mammals and what have you. Then the jawbone is another important character. The brain and the brain is another important. We learned that the brain is well developed and more specialized in mammals. And then we learned about the mammalian dentition, knowing that learning that the mammals are heterodontic. They have differentiated teeth. They don't have the same type of teeth in their jaws. Their teeth differ in shape, differ in size, and differ in function. So we saw the different types of teeth, and we are different types of dentition that we see in mammals. And we also learned that even the type of dentition in a particular mammal can tell us and educate us, or rather help us to infer the kind of diet or the kind of nutrition that mammal prefers. So we also talked about reproduction briefly. And we mentioned that there are three groups of mammals that differ in their reproductive modes. The proterians, which are the first therians. And yes, remember I said wherever you see therians, is referring, that suffix therians is referring to mammals. Proto means first. Hue means true. Meta means something that has a cover or that is protected by something. So proterians means the first therians or the first mammals. And we found out that their reproductive mode is oviparous. So they are oviparous mammals. They exhibit oviparity, that is, they lay eggs. And remember Phineas and Ferb, I gave as an example, the cartoon Phineas and Ferb. If you remember the platypus in that cartoon, the platypus is an example of a monotreme that lays eggs. It's not a fish, it's not a bird. It lays eggs and it's a mammal. So they call them egg-laying mammals, the prototerians. The metatherians differ. Those are the marsupials, like the kangaroos, the koalas. They have pouches where their young lives. They are viviparous, but the difference is that they have a pouch where the immature young will have to grow and mature, and it will be sucking the mammary glands from that pouch. Whereas the euterians, which are the true mammals, are the placental mammals. They have placenta where the embryo will grow and fully develop. Yes, will develop. In some cases, the young might be precocial or might be altricial. We'll look at that in the next slide. But they are also viviparous. That is, they give birth to their young ones alive. They don't lay eggs. They are also viviparous. So we looked at gestation periods, and we found out that larger mammals usually have longer gestation periods, and their newborns are usually born in the advanced stage. So they don't need although they will need some level of period, they need some, in some groups of mammals, these precocial bonds still need some level of parental care. But when you look at their anatomy and their physiology, they are born in an advanced stage. Unlike the altricial newborns that are born by the small mammals, small insectivores, rodents, and carnivores, that they have shorter gestation periods, and their newborns are usually altricial. That is, they are not fully formed in sense of anatomy and physiology. For example, some of them are born sightless, some of them are born without air, and so they will need significant parental care until they develop all those parts and they're able to survive on their own. So that was all we talked about in the last class. Do I have questions? So the floor is open for questions, and then I'll see how we can answer them, or maybe contributions or whatever. So if you have a question, do well to raise your hand. If you don't, then I can assume that you guys are good to go on this topic, and the next lecturer can come in. Okay, Obi Grace, go ahead, please. Unmute yourself and ask a question.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, morning. I can hear you. Is that Obi?
No, sir, this is Basi.
Okay, do you have a question?
Yes, sir.
Why? Why? Okay, you guys are saying you can't be muted or muted. I wasn't the one that muted everyone. Akitude, can you please help? But then someone has unmuted himself on Kato. Go ahead.
So based on that gestation period, so I need you to shed more light on it.
What exactly do you want to know? Sorry. What exactly do you want to know? I said so many things about the gestation period. So let's go. When you ask questions, you have to be very specific because shedding more light. What light? What more do you want apart from what is here?
So based on the small insectivorous rodents and carnivores, just that part.
What do you want me to say about it? You've not asked the question. Okay, you just want me to go ahead and talk again about this. All right. Gestation periods are either long or short. And zoologists have found that gestation periods are longer in larger mammals. Gestation period, how long it takes for the embryo to develop, that's what gestation means. For example, in humans, what's the length, what's the gestation period in humans? How many weeks or months? Do you know?
No.
In human beings, you've not had anybody pregnant. Thank you. Thank you. 36 weeks. Very good. Toluwa logo, 9 months. Yes, now you hear it everywhere, even if you've never been pregnant before. Yes. So every human being carries their babies, their children, at least for 36 weeks. Some people don't meet, some people have beyond 36 weeks. For some people stay till 40 weeks. Yes, till 40
Hmm?
weeks. Yes, yes. Some people stay to 40 weeks. So it's a plus or minus. And some people even do less than 36 weeks. But on the average, it's 36 weeks.
Okay, sir.
Yes. So that's what we mean by gestation. So for how long it takes for that embryo to develop until it's able to be born. So in larger mammals, it takes very long. Like 9 months is a lot of time. Elephants take roughly more than a year for gestation. So you can imagine. But what zoologists have also learned is that when the child is born, he's usually born in an advanced stage. The anatomy is complete and the physiology is complete. And so the child does not require extremely significant parental care. And those kind of bonds, newborns, are called precocial newborns. That is, they are ready for life. Whereas smaller mammals like the insectivores, rodents, carnivores, and small carnivores usually have shorter gestation periods. In fact, you refer to them as um, um, case species. That's what you refer to them when you look at when you learn ecology, in the sense that they give birth to so much young ones. Like, for example, you find one pregnant rat in your house, and you find out that he has given birth to so many young ones. In a very short period of time, you start seeing young mice. You start seeing mice running around and disturbing your whole company. Yes, because they have shorter gestation period. So and they can give birth to they are usually very fertile, and they can give birth to so many young at once. You can see, like dogs, for example, you can see a dog give birth to almost 8 puppies at once, or you see rats can give birth to almost 20 litter at once, because it doesn't take them long. Their gestation is very short. But when the newborns are born, they are called altricial newborns. Why? Because they have not they were not born at the advanced stage. Some of them are sightless, some of them are airless, and they will need significant parental care for a period of time before they can live independently. So that's what I mean. Is that fine? Yes, thank you. Uchena, elephants take about 22 months. That's roughly a year. All right. Any other question? Can call it a day.
Yes, no.
Go ahead, please.
Can you? Hello? Yes, ma'am. When we
Yes.
were talking about the characteristics of mammals, we said some of them, most of them, they have, like you say, mammals are heterodontic, but I thought like whale
Sorry,
is also a
uh,
mammal.
I can't hear you clearly.
Wow. I said a whale is homodontic, but is a mammal.
Is male what? Can you type your question in the chat box? I can barely hear you. Okay, Gerald. Gerald is asking that some types of whales are homodontic, but it is a mammal. Remember, I said that the other characteristics that we mentioned, apart from the possession of air, the possession of a mammary gland, and the possession of three air ossicles in their middle bone, in their middle ear, three bones in their middle ear, are the fundamental characteristics of mammals. Those three are the fundamental characteristics that you must find for you to be able to call an animal or a vertebrate a mammal. The other characteristics might be shared by, are not shared by all mammals. Some mammals might have, some may not have. And as a matter of fact, some other vertebrates can have some of those characteristics. So the fact that some whales are homodontic does not mean they are not mammals. The reason they are mammals is because of those fundamental characteristics. Thank you for responding to Rachel's question. That's a deformity. That's a problem. If a human baby or a human newborn is born sightless. Trying to check for any other question. Okay, somebody asked something about replacement teeth. Okay, yes. Somebody asked, sorry, and for the break in transmission. Someone asked something about replacement teeth. I'm trying to look for the question. People keep putting your names and my chicken number, and it's just clogging the chat room. Yes, thank you. Okay, Akiyemi has answered you, like your milk teeth and permanent teeth. And so you can, so humans can only replace their teeth naturally once. So the teeth, if the teeth, the temporary teeth, which is the milk teeth, falls off, then it grows a permanent teeth. After that, there is no replacement. Unlike other vertebrates that can keep replacing their teeth if it's lost or if it falls. So that's one thing about mammals. They have reduced, their ability is reduced to have more than one replacement set of teeth. Okay, there are three. Is platypus a mammal or what? I didn't get. Yes, platypus is a mammal. It's a mammal. Although it's one of the referred to it as a proterian, the first mammals. That is the most rudimentary mammals. They are egg-laying mammals. Yes. So anywhere you ask that, are there mammals that lay eggs? Say yes, and they exist. Platypus. Yes. Okay, Gerald, does whale have air? So scientists have found that they don't exactly have air sticking out on their skin, but they have air follicles within their skin, which are very, very similar to what many land mammals have. So you see some of them having whiskers. Um, you can even find some like the humpback whale have some visible air. Are some mammals ovoviviparous? No, I don't know about any mammal that is. Most of what you find is is viviparous, or then the rudimentary forms that lay eggs. What is a whale classified as? For example, platypus is monotreme and a kangaroo is a marsupial. Whales are true mammals. They are euterians. They are true mammals. They are placenta mammals. They give birth to their young alive. Whales do not lay eggs. So they are true mammals. They don't lay eggs. They give birth to their younger life, and they are placental mammals. And so they are classified as euterians, or we call them true mammals. Thank you, Chena. So how about the ears and mammary glands of whales? Do they really possess them? Yes. Yes. How will they feed their young if they don't? Gerald, let's leave it as air. Air follicles, air is air. But good thinking anyway. Who is asking about kangaroo? What are you asking about kangaroo? Mary Adeyemi, you're saying what of kangaroo? What about it? No, kangaroos are not ovoviviparous. They don't lay eggs. So ovoviviparous, over there meaning that they lay eggs and the eggs will hatch while inside the animal before it comes out comes out. That's not what's happening with the marsupials. The marsupials have they are viviparous. It's just that their young develops in a pouch. That's not ovoviviparous reproduction. Yes, Obasi, yes. Platypus is not a true mammal, but it is a mammal. Yes, you are correct. Yeah, dog bee platypus, spiny anteater. All right, okay. I just plan to spend 30 minutes in class today. So thank you for annotating my screen, Igeoluwaseun. You have just, I don't know what this is about, but anyways, thank you so much for, yes, we can conclude the class now. Thank you so much for joining. And it was nice it was nice teaching you guys, and thanks for having me. So I'm going to hand over to the next lecturer. That's Dr. Swala. She's going to be teaching you next. Let me just look quickly to see what that topic is. That should be adaptation to the environment, if I'm not wrong. That's the adaptation of mammals to the environment. All right, thank you very much. See you guys whenever we see. Bye.